It's also been included.
Okay, you have gotten the point, Governor?
Yes.
Yeah, and please, let's be careful with this process, because once we go back to the House with the recommendation, we will expect that that recommendation is followed up, be it by the OAG or the ESCC. In the time remaining, there are 3 issues we will deal with, and then we'll take a view on the remaining issues. We probably might have to organize another appointment, but there's a payment of court decrees, unsupported legal fees, project implementation, and something to do with the revenue system, supply, installation, and commissioning of the revenue management system. Let's start with under report on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use of public resources, the finding by the Auditor General under project implementation, where 1,721 projects were assessed. Auditor General, what was your general observation on the 1,721 projects? What was it that was unlawful and ineffective?
Thank you, Chair. We raised quite a number of issues under project implementations, where some projects were stalled, some were ongoing. But when you look at the documents they provided to us, it's a similar document, not identifying what is the progress of those reports, because they have just given us a status without actual committee recommendation, because we expected them, if a project is stalled or a project is still ongoing, we expected them to have a committee that goes round, know how much was allocated for this project, how much have we spent, what is the progress work, and what is delaying, which is not in any of their documents to support the progress of this stalled and incomplete project. And that one we can see in
sorry, Auditor, if you sum up the amounts queried here, how much are we dealing with in terms of stalled projects? Because I've seen point number 4 there where you're dealing with 7.4 billion worth of projects. So to put it in context, if you sum up what you've queried under point 1, 2, 3, all the way to 5, this is approximately 8 billion.
Yeah, it is 66 plus 56, which is almost 110. There's 95, getting to 200.
It's about 7.8 billion. We can round it off to about 7.8 billion
sure.
in terms of stalled and incomplete projects. Governor, does that sound like the reality on the ground? That you've got stalled projects to the tune of 7.8 billion Kenya shillings?
Chair, not anymore now at this point. I think many have been completed. We did put in place an RRI team that has been very helpful in making sure that those that had stalled even for very many years, over 10 years and all that, have since they were prioritized, and that's what we have been working on. So I don't believe that's the position right now.
Is there a schedule here that gives us a project status update? Because the auditor says that whatever was presented really was an IFMIS extract. That
Chair, maybe if I can guide, they have presented it on page 261, 262, 263, and the comment is stalled for most of the projects.
Okay, so Governor, going back to your documents, the auditor has queried about 7.8 billion, which you say might not be the current scenario. In your assessment, what is the approximate value of stalled projects?
Well, Chair, first of all, the auditor is reading the project status, which is stalled. That's what it was at that time back then. But next to it is another column that's the status as of August 2025. And you can see stalled at finishing level now, work ongoing at 70%. And I want to point out, Chair, like you have said previously, because there's sometimes a lot of misinformation or out of context. You can see some of these projects were started in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. So it's also an issue that I have had to deal with as a governor in Nakuru County. So when I've come in, I have not... for the first 1 and 2 years, I wasn't really able to do what I had myself wanted to do, but to really just work on stalled projects. So we are working on it diligently, and as you can see, from that column as of 2025, we are really on it, and you can see some of it because since since the award had been done, at this point, you see contractors declining the jobs. So we've also had another very big issue of re-advertising and getting them going. But I can guarantee the committee that, as you can see, work is going on. You'll see on page 263, 97% complete, only painting remaining. The next constructor, drilled and capped and all that sort of stuff. So yes, there has been a problem. It's been an issue that I have inherited actually, but I'm diligently and consistently working on it to make sure that we...
Governor, help me at page 261 there. What is the status of that construction of a public toilet at Elementaita Trading Center?
What number is that?
At page 261, you will see it is, I think, fourth from bottom.
Elementaita, oh, there. Public toilet, Viad. This was the one that they talked to us about.
What is that? What does that word mean? Is it a word?
Actually, what happens is sometimes when we go for the supplementary, as you know, in
What does
Parliament,
that word mean?
they move the money to a different project.
I swear to God, this is the first time I'm hearing this word.
Yeah.
Called environment. But
We learn every day, Senator. Environment. I guess maybe you heard it as environment perhaps before. Yeah. So they do change.
but even if you use that as a test case, a public toilet that cost 1 million, that started in 2019, 2020.
How does it stall?
We were with you here in the Senate.
I was in the Senate with you.
Yeah. So don't be defensive.
I would.
How does that stall? How does a 1 million public toilet? Sorry?
And sometimes also you could find that, granted, I don't want to say that for this specific one, we've had issues where perhaps money was allocated to, say, a toilet, and then you find out the land was not public, or the land had not been acquired. So you can't proceed because then it becomes an audit issue. But I don't want to say specifically. I would have to come back to you on that. I don't know why that happened.
And then
what we're not seeing, Chair, is the status of that project.
Correct.
Status of completion.
So now is it
zero amount has been paid?
Which one?
Zero amount has been paid for that particular project.
No, zero.
Amount. Has it started at all?
No, when it's fired, it means the money, it's not going to be done.
So why is it here as a stalled project? How can it stall when it has not started?
Because the contract had been awarded at that time, back in when I was in the Senate with the chair. So the contract had been awarded. Maybe the contractor never took sight, right?
So is it
so why
never, but no payments were done.
Why does it still appear then?
I don't know.
I mean,
but we are working on that. I actually brought on board when I came in because I realized a big part of my problem in the county is a lot of public money spent on projects that have not been completed. And we're talking about since 2010 even, way back. So I have brought on board a director here, stand up Patrick maybe, who is helping me with this sort of stuff where they go to the ground and every project, now not from the office, but they actually go and see the status. Because you could also be given this and told it's completed and nothing has started. So we are now completely on top of it using this department.
The Governor, the actual status is it has not started.
No, it's not even going to start. The money has been fired.
Yes. So it is not stalled.
So how do you deal with that, OAG? How do you clean the books of the county so that these things don't continue appearing? And then
before you clean the books, does it mean the community still need that particular toilet?
Yeah, because there's a public participation aspect.
I don't want to answer in a way that I could mislead the House because I'm not sure about this specific one, because it could have even been that there was another toilet nearby but somebody had put money for this as a toilet. So they ended up deciding, instead of the toilet, give us water in that public area. And they wired the money to do water. I don't know.
But I think, Governor, for the benefit of your politics and also benefit of the community, if the community still need that particular toilet, you can send your officer to check what is on the ground and then review and see 1 million is nothing as far as your budget is concerned. So what do you do? You need to give an overview exactly.
Does a toilet exist at Elementaita Trading Center?
They are private ones. Maybe somebody decided that it's better for us to use private facilities at Elementaita and deny county revenue.
Because what Senator Dulo is saying is important. We are all practical politicians. You know, in a trading center, in a market, the traders would want a toilet. Now, if in 2019, 2020, they wanted a toilet, and it has not been done because it has been wired, I don't know how you explain that to the vegetable sellers.
But Chair, I mean, I don't want to make it seem so bad in the sense that maybe the toilet was taken away and they were left without a toilet. Let's remember a lot of this environment happens in the county assembly when they do the supplementary. And before the supplementary, they have to do public participation. So also because, and I would hope I am right, also because like you and I, they are politicians, I hope also Senator Dulo, through the chair, they would not take out money for a toilet and leave that community without a toilet. So there may have been another toilet nearby.
But Governor, you're speaking in very vague terms. Maybe, I don't know.
No, because I don't want to answer specific to this one.
That's exactly our expectation. That when you come here, no, that when you come for the Senate, you are giving a specific. It's now 3 years down the line. Surely this is an exercise that should have been conducted in the first few years of your administration so that you get to know if we are proceeding with this project. If the money was sent to another one or something else. And I also need you to confirm. You can see that on that same page 261, there was construction of an ECD toilet at Giashonge Primary. There's another one at Ereri ECD. And your comment there, status as at August 2025, is contractor declined work. In all fairness, Governor, that's not a status.
Up to now, and the school did not have toilets, so there was a toilet for male teachers. No, there was a bush for male teachers and a bush for female teachers. A bush for let me not mention the county. I already mentioned it. Okay, yeah. So are you using bushes?
Yeah, which is what devolution was meant to cure when you sent ECD. Maybe Senator Dulo, then.
Governor, maybe through the chair, you know, I think the best should be when you are designing your ECD, can you paint a picture? Because I've seen some people call it ECD classrooms, ECD centers. When as you design an ECD center, for example, do you put the classroom, do you put a staff? Do you put, I know children are still young, they might need to take an afternoon nap. They could be somewhere they're eating from. And then maybe the issue of washrooms. And then, Governor, do you also have a feeding program? Because I know most of the counties, including Nairobi, they have what we call dish in a county, although on a dish watu. So can you paint a picture on how your ICD looks like so that we don't even need to come to Nakuru? What is the design of your ICD, and just finalize maybe if you have a feeding program, maybe like Uji or to ensure the enrollment to ECD classes.
Okay,
Chair.
before you respond, the officer you said you are brought in to help you on this, I want you to, as the governor is responding, work out, in this report of the Auditor General, is about 7.8 billion in terms of stalled projects as at the time of audit. In your report, you have indicated that 13 have been completed, that there's been some progress. Can you attempt to quantify what is the current value of stalled projects so that we can take a view on effectiveness? But Governor, you may respond first.
Thank you, Chair. And I'll have, if you don't mind, I'll have Patrick, who is that director, speak for a minute. What we did, and we started this at the close, actually sometime in the last financial year, his department and, or his directorate, sorry, plus staff from every department visited, went across the county, visited and got the status of all these stalled projects, but also sat and did like a workshop. I think we called it a workshop at that time, where including the MCA and members of from the executive, staff from the executive, the projects that were no longer viable, decided, let's take them off our books, or do we add more money, or has another class been built since, and you know, that sort of decision, and then decided on what to do with that. They had a clinic, actually, that's what they called it then. And so when, through the chair, so Senator Sifuna feels I'm not being very specific, I feel I've been specific enough in, for example, in saying, say we vied. However, we shall do an addendum where we'll be able to give you what happened exactly when they vied, where did that money go, or did it go to another project, or you know, that sort of stuff. As far as the toilets, it's one of the things that I'm very keen on for the ECD students, because many of them have been sharing toilets with the older students, so that you find these little babies are having to share toilets with those older kids, and it's not been very good. But when now we are building, and this is in response to Senator Cherargei's question, through that, we don't now just build, we came in and decided we don't just build a classroom. We don't just come in and build a structure like this and say, hey, Giashonge ECD, here you are. What now we do, it's a complete package. We do the classroom, we do the desks, we do chairs, or rather we furnish. We do the chairs, we do a toilet, we do a water tank and a water washing point with that ECD. On the floor, we do terrazzo, and we do some nice painting colors so that it's attractive to these little kids. In addition to that, we have as a county a feeding program that is the fortified porridge. And indeed, since we started this program, it has increased our enrollment. I was at about 55,000 ECD students. We now have a little over 60,000. We had like 3 or 4 classrooms in some very hot area without much going on that had been closed, but once we introduced the porridge, the schools have reopened with kids coming. So it's really just helped in a lot of ways, and we are doing a lot of infrastructure in terms of these ECDs.
So,
but yeah, sorry, let me have
back to your officer.
1 minute. Yes.
The school feeding, I think she has responded, but we were on projects with quantifiable values. Maybe let's deal with that. And for your information, I've just logged into your PMS system that you have referred to here. And I can see that stalled projects are 0, varied projects are 0, vired projects are 0. So this does not seem to correspond or tie with the submissions that you have made here. But you may proceed.
Proceed.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, my governor.